Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today is my latest installment in my deep dive into the 2024 Senate elections series. This video focuses on the state and Senate race in the state of Michigan. Michigan, one of the closest states at the presidential level. At the Senate level, Michigan is also one of the more competitive Senate races up this cycle. The seat currently has a Democratic senator that has decided not to run for re-election, so this is now an open seat. And the two candidates, one is a Democratic congresswoman, on the Republican side is a former Republican congressman. So very, very interesting matchup we have in the state of Michigan. I'm going to take you through who the candidates are, some election history and polling information as well, and more as we look at the 2024 Michigan Senate race. Starting with the voting history, in 2020, the last Senate race in Michigan, the Democratic incumbent Senator Gary Peters won this race by 1.7%. In 2018, the current incumbent Democratic senator who's not running for re-election, Debbie Stabenow, she won this state by 6.5%, a 6.5% margin of victory. And in 2014, the open race at the time where Gary Peters won, he won that race by 13.3%. The current polling average, what I did is I took all the polling averages and averaged them out. That has the Democratic candidate Slotkin at 47.4%, the Republican candidate Rogers at 44.1%. As for the national vote in these elections, in 2020, of all the Senate seats and all the votes added up, Republicans won nationally by 2.3%. In 2018, Democrats won nationally by 19.9%. And in 2014, Republicans won in the Senate nationally by 7.7%. When you average them all up, that is an average of 3.3% advantage for the Democrats across these last three elections. It's also worth noting the current congressional vote polling average has Republicans up 0.8, but as we're not going to know how the Senate map is going to go, and we're not going to know the final votes until after the election is done, I'm not sure how much that'll be able to play into our analysis for this video. Michigan's vote compared to the national vote. In 2020, the Gary Peters Senate race, Michigan voted 4 points more Democratic than the national Senate vote across the country. In 2018, Michigan voted 13.4% more Republican than the national Senate vote across the country. And in 2014, Michigan voted 21% more Democratic than the national Senate vote across the country. So that ended up being an average of D plus 3.9 between 2014 and 2020. And Republican plus 3.1 between 2018 and 2020. Looking at the two Senate candidates for Michigan's 2024 Senate race, the Democratic candidate is Congresswoman Elissa Slotkin. The Republican candidate is former Congressman Mike Rogers. They'll be going head-to-head in the Senate election to see who gets to be the next senator from the state of Michigan. As for the Senate forecast, Real Clear Politics has this race listed as a toss-up. Sabado's Crystal Ball has it as a lean for Slotkin. 538 has it as likely for Slotkin. Decision Desk HQ in The Hill has it as lean for Slotkin. And Cook Political Report has it as a toss-up. The current polling averages for this state for the Michigan Senate race, Real Clear Politics has Slotkin leading by 2.1%. 538 has Slotkin leading by 3.9%. 270 to win has Slotkin leading by 3.9%. Decision Desk HQ in The Hill has Slotkin leading by 3.2%. An average across all these polling averages of 3.3%. That would be a lean Democratic win if it ended up being 3.3. Looking at some key counties I'm watching for in the state of Michigan, the first county is going to be Wayne County. This is where the city of Detroit is. This is the largest county in the state of Michigan. In 2020, the Senate race there had over 5.479 million votes statewide. 862,000 of them alone came just from Wayne County. And Wayne also has a lot of surrounding suburbs as well, like Oakland and Macomb County, that boost its numbers up as well. So Wayne County will be a main Democratic voting area that'll be very important to watch on election night. It was a 37.4% win in 2020 for the Democratic candidate, 40% for 2018 for the Democrat, and 47% in 2014 for the Democratic candidate. It will be a big Democrat vote center, definitely an important one to take note of. Next is Oakland County, one of the suburbs surrounding Detroit. This is going to be somewhere between a likely to a safe Democratic county in all likelihood. Oakland County is the second largest county in the state of Michigan. It has over 760,000 votes in the 2020 Senate race. So not about 100,000 votes or 150,000 votes or so behind Wayne County, but still very big numbers of people living in that area. In 2020, it was won by 11 points by the Democratic candidate. In 2018, it was won by 13.7% by the Democratic candidate. And in 2014, it was won by the Democrat by 15.1%. So there has been a little bit of a trend across the last 3 Senate races of it still being Democrat, but getting a little bit less and less Democrat. 2024 will be interesting to watch to see if that continues, or does that trend maybe reverse a little in 2024. That's certainly one to watch for. Macomb County is the third largest county in the state of Michigan. It had over 486,000 votes cast in the 2020 Senate race. And in 2020, the Republican candidate won this seat by 5.7%. In 2018, this county went Democrat by 1.9%. And in 2014, it went Democrat by 12.5%. So this is a county that has swung a lot in the last 3 elections. It is now voting Republican at 5.7. This will be a good one to watch to give us an idea at how Mike Rogers is performing on election night. If he's winning this county, by how much, or if Slotkin's winning this county, that would be very good news for her. So this is certainly one that's important to watch for. Now we're going to look at Kent County. Kent County, this is where the city of Grand Rapids is. This is going to be the 4th largest county in the state, Kent County. And the votes in the 2020 Senate race had about 358,000 votes or so for the Republican candidate. It was a Republican win in 2020 by just 0.4%, very, very close. It was a Democrat plus 0.4% in 2018, also very, very close. And it was Republican plus 8.3% in 2014. For Mike Rogers to win the state of Michigan, Kent County in all likelihood would have to be a Republican win, and would probably have to be a Republican win by a pretty substantial margin. So if this county is very, very close again, or maybe even a Democratic county, that would certainly be good news for Slotkin and not so good news for Rogers. The next county to look at is Genesee County. Genesee County had over 219,000 votes in 2020, and this is where the city of Flint is located. So Genesee County will be a big Democratic vote area, although it has trended a little bit more Republican in the last 3 elections, down from 35% in 2014 to 16% in 2018, and now a little bit south of 12% in 2020. This will be an interesting one to watch for what should be a lot of Democratic votes, but does the trend continue of it getting a little bit less and less Democratic? That'll be one to watch for sure. Next, we have Washtenaw County. This is going to be the 6th largest county in the state of Michigan. This is where the city of Ann Arbor is located in Washtenaw County. As for 2020, it had 214,000 votes out of this area or so. This will be a big Democratic vote center. It was 38% win in 2014 for the Democrat, almost 44% in 2018 for the Democrat, and almost 42% for the Democrat in 2020. Will definitely be a big Democratic vote center. Next, we have Ottawa County. This is going to be a heavy Republican area with over 167,000 votes last time for the Republican. It was almost a 34% win in 2014, 27% win in 2018, and then 28% win in 2020. Fully expect this to be a big Republican area. Ingham County is going to be a very big win for the Democrats on election night with 143,000 votes cast in 2020. This makes it the 8th largest county in Michigan. This will be a big Democratic area. Kalamazoo, 9th largest county, 142,000 votes in 2020. This will be a Democratic area, 13.4% win in 2014. 13.4% for the Democrat in 2014, 17% for the Democrat in 2018, and 13.1% in 2020 for the Democrat. This is likely going to be a Democratic area, but the margins are important to watch for as maybe a potential sign at how Slotkin or Rogers is performing. And I was going to put Livingston on this list because Livingston County is a larger population than Saginaw. However, Livingston is expected to be a very Republican county. Saginaw is going to be more competitive. So I just want to mention that Livingston County had over 125,000 votes in 2020, and I fully expected to be a Republican county. But I did really want to talk about Saginaw County, which is just one step below it on the population, where it had over 102,000 votes in 2020. This is going to be one of the closer counties to watch on election night. In 2014, it was a 22-point win by the Democrat. In 2018, a 4.5% win. And in 2020, a 2.3% win. This is a county I'm watching very, very closely. And if Mike Rogers does overperform what the polls suggest, this could be a county that might very well flip on election night. If you're Elissa Slotkin, you're watching this county very closely and trying to run at least 2.3%, even improving your numbers would be preferred. But this is a very close one in Saginaw to watch for. As for the county maps in Michigan, in 2020, Democratic incumbent Senator Gary Peters faced off against Republican challenger John James. Peters got 49.9%, James got 48.2%, a margin of victory of 1.7%. And looking at some of the counties that I mentioned around the state, Ottawa County right here, 63.3 to 35.3. That was a win for James. Kent County right next door, 49.3 to 48.9. Very, very close, but a win for James. Ingham County right here, 64.4 to 33.7. That was a win for Peters. Kalamazoo County right here next to Calhoun, 55.4 to 42.4. A win for Peters. Wayne County, Detroit right down here, 67.5 to 30.2. A win for Peters. Oakland County, just north of it, 54.8 to 43.8, a win for Peters. Macomb County, right next door to Oakland, 51.8 to 46.1, a win for James. Washtenaw County, west of Wayne County, 70.1 to 28.3, a win for Peters. Genesee County, up here, 54.9 to 43.1, a win for Peters. And Saginaw County, just north of Genesee, 50.4 to 48.1. As you can see, when we're going to look at the 2014 one in a few minutes, a lot of blue surrounding the Michigan area and Wayne County, Washtenaw, Oakland, a lot of Democratic votes in the suburban areas. Macomb County, while it was a red county by about 5 to 6 points in 2020, did not always used to be that way. We'll be looking at that in a second, but the surrounding Detroit area is going to be very, very key for if Mike Rogers has a realistic shot at winning this race or not, or whether Elissa Slotkin is going to hold on pretty strongly. Looking at 2018, this was a race where Debbie Stabenow, the Democratic incumbent, got 52.3%. John James, this is the first time he ran. He ran in 2018 and 2020. He got 45.8% of the vote at the time, which actually was improved on what many thought he was going to get. And this is one where in Ottawa County, 62.7 to 35.6, James won there. Kent County, 49.1 to 48.7, that was a narrow win for Debbie Stabenow. Ingham County, 65.5, 32.6, Stabenow won there. Kalamazoo, 57.3 to 40.3, Stabenow won there. Wayne, 69.1 to 29, Stabenow win. Oakland County, 56.1, 42.4, a win for Stabenow. Macomb County actually going blue in 2018, 50.1 to 48.2. Washtenaw County, 71.2, 27.4. Genesee, 57, 40.8. And Saginaw, 51.3 to 46.8. I wanted to show this one because, as I showed you in 2020, Macomb County here was red. Saginaw was less blue. Kent was red. These are important areas that is going to be important for Mike Rogers on election night. Because right now, based on the polling average, the 2024 race is looking like somewhere between what 2018 was, which is about a 7-point Democratic win, and what 2020 was, which is about a 1.7% win. That's where the polling average is looking right now, somewhere in between that, and like the 3.5 to 4 range is where the margin of victory is looking. So some sort of hybrid between 2020 and 2018 right now. For Mike Rogers to win, barring a last-minute polling change in the final week of the election, he needs to really outperform the polls in a way we haven't seen too much at the Senate level. There is precedent at the presidential level, but not at the Senate level. So that was 2018. Now looking at 2014, where this is a very much a Democratic landslide win, even though Gary Peters did get 54.6% of the vote, the Republican only got 41.4%. This was Terry Lynn Land, and this is a very big Democratic win where I'm just going to show you real quick. This is 2014. Look at all the blue in the middle part of Michigan. Look at all the blue counties, all red in 2018 and even more red in 2020. And look at how much blue there was in light blue and light red in 2014. Ottawa was 65, 31.3 for Land. Kent County, 52.1, 43.8 for Land. Ingham County, 64.8 to 31.9. That was a win by Peters. Kalamazoo, 54.1 to 40.7, a win for Peters. Wayne County, 71.8, 24.9, a win for Peters. Oakland County, 55.8, 40.7, a win for Peters. Macomb County, 53.9, 41.4, a win for Peters. Washtenaw County, 67.3, 29.3, win for Peters. Genesee, 65.8 to 30.5, a win for Peters. And Saginaw County, 59.3 to 37.2, a win for Peters. Just an absolute landslide victory for the Democratic candidate, Gary Peters, in 2014. Looking now at the two parties and how they've done in the last three elections. In 2020, the Democratic incumbent Senator Gary Peters got 49.9% of the vote. 2018, Democratic incumbent Debbie Stabenow got 52.3% of the vote. In 2014, the open seat, which Gary Peters did win, he got 54.6%. That is an average across the last 3 elections of 53.3% of the vote in the state of Michigan. The estimated range for 2024 has the highest total, 54.6, minus the lowest total of 49.9, which is a difference of 4.7. Adding 4.7 to the high and low ends gives you our 2024 estimated range, which has the Democrats on the low end getting 45.2 and on the high end getting 59.3. And there's going to be a little bit of a comparison to the Republicans, which I'm going to do in a second, but certainly a race the Democrats are capable of winning, breaking the 50% threshold pretty easily. On the Republican side, in 2020, the highest total the Republican has gone in Michigan in a very long time. John James got 48.2%. In 2018, John James got 45.8%. And in 2014, Terry Ann Land got 41.4%. That is an average vote percentage across the 3 elections of 45.1%. And as for our 2024 estimated range, that has the highest total of 2020, 48.2, minus the low total from 2014, 41.4, a difference of 6.8. Adding 6.8 to the high end and subtracting it from the low end gets our 2024 estimated range, which has on the low end Republicans getting 34.6 and getting 55 on the high end. So similarly to the Democrats, the Republicans do break 50%, which does signify that it is definitely possible for Republicans to win this seat, and it is a very winnable race for the Republicans. The only difference is, if you notice, the floors are a lot lower for the Republicans than they are for the Democrats, about an 11-point difference in terms of where the Democrats start out with based on the last 3 elections and where the Republicans start out with. It's also worth noting the Democrats' ceiling is about 4.3% higher than what the Republican ceiling is. This does not mean the race is not winnable for the Republicans, but it does mean the Democrats, at least based on the last 3 elections, do have a slight advantage starting out with the floor and the ceiling of this race. As for what this means, is I think this does kind of agree with what the polling averages have said, that the Democratic candidate does have about a lean advantage right now. Like some other states like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Ohio, which have narrowed in the last few weeks and last few months, Michigan really hasn't done so all that much. It did narrow down to about 2% in the polls for a little bit and then started to go back up in some other areas and some other polling averages. Michigan, of all the Senate races, seems to be one of those that is a competitive race, but the polls really aren't breaking and getting closer, even as Donald Trump has taken the lead in the state of Michigan very narrowly in the RCP polling average. The Senate race really hasn't budged the same way, even using the same polling average. So what that means for my 2024 Michigan Senate prediction, I have Democratic Congresswoman Elissa Slotkin winning the Senate seat with 50.4%, Republican challenger Mike Rogers with 47.2%. That is a margin of victory of 3.2%, pretty much exactly aligned with what the polling average is saying right now. It's very, very interesting because I think this could be a situation that very well might be a split ticket vote on election night, which is very atypical and unusual to have one candidate winning the presidency and another losing the Senate race in the same party. So it'd be very interesting to watch if this does actually go down, but I have Elissa Slotkin winning the Senate seat based on everything I just went over, and Mike Rogers coming in second with 47.2%, a margin of victory of 3.2%. Now looking at our 2024 Senate map, with the states I have done that are really competitive, Florida, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Montana, Wisconsin, and now Michigan added to the totals. Democrats now have 47 Senate seats, Republicans have 51, with 2 more Senate seats left to go on my 2024 Senate map in the deep dive series leading up until the election. The next one is going to be on the state of Ohio, where Democratic incumbent Senator Sherrod Brown is facing off against Republican Bernie Moreno in the fight for Sherrod Brown's political life. This is going to be a very, very close race, a very, very entertaining race to watch, and definitely a video you're not going to want to miss. So please remember to stay tuned for that. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching my deep dive into the 2024 Michigan Senate race. That will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a like. And if you really liked it, please remember to click the subscribe button and make sure you turn post notifications on so you always get notified when I post a new video. That way you never miss one. Also, please remember to share this video with your friends and family if you really like the video. And remember to stay tuned because I'll be posting at least one video every single day leading up until Election Day. So I'd really appreciate it if you keep coming back and watching those videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.